Dara, tell us a little bit about the history of the Toronto Holocaust Museum, how it came to be, and why it's so important for Canadian culture today.
Sure. So the brand new Toronto Holocaust Museum that we're standing in just opened in June of 2023, but we actually have a long history. We were founded originally in 1985 by Holocaust survivors when they were ready to start sharing their stories with students primarily, and we continued their work with the new museum, really thinking about how to make sure that the survivor voice still remains a powerful way to access the narratives of the Holocaust even after our survivor community is gone. And so when you walk around the museum, you actually can hear each step along the way on these interactive kiosks from survivors, all different kinds of experiences.
Dara, as I walk around this museum, I have learned so many new facets of the history of the Holocaust as well as World War II. Something that I did know was that 2 out of 3 Jewish people in Europe were murdered during the Holocaust. But to see that number again really impacted me. And so as we think about those who survived the Holocaust that came to Canada, how many Jewish people came to Canada who survived the Holocaust?
Sure. Around 35,000 Jews immigrated here after the Holocaust, with large concentrations in Toronto and Montreal. And they really did shape the character of the community. And this building that we're standing in was actually built in response to this influx of survivors establishing themselves in the Bathurst Manor, which became the first Jewish suburb, and many of them found work in the area as well, and they really had an enormous impact on the Jewish community today.
You know, Dara, as I walk around the museum, I see the important role of agency, human agency, that the Holocaust happened to people, and it was created by people. Why is there such a focal point on the reality of human agency throughout the museum?
We wanted to make sure that the Jews that were impacted by the Holocaust, though they had limited decision-making ability, they still were people that had ideas, that had hopes, that had challenges that they were trying to fix. And so we wanted to make sure that was woven throughout. So we did that through the survivor testimony, where you're able to hear like the struggles that these people were facing. And then on the other side, the perpetrators, this is really important lessons for students, that they see this full spectrum of human behavior. And so we actually have a section in the Atrocities Gallery where we show the perpetrators. And these could be like low-level people. There was a secretary to Hitler, but also these high-level, high-ranking Nazis. How did they make the decisions? And then also what happened to them afterwards in these different trials that they face, where they tried to sort of explain away their responsibility. And so really thinking about that full spectrum is such an important tool to learning about the Holocaust.
It certainly is. And, you know, as we consider the families and the people impacted who are generationally here living in Canada now, we also have to think about the fact that being aware of this history is important as we consider the future of Canada. What would you say is the state of anti-Semitism in Canada? And do you think the Jewish people in Canada feel safe right now?
So we're definitely seeing an enormous uptick of anti-Semitism in Canada. It's been an incredibly challenging time for the Jewish community. I grew up in Toronto and really faced very little, if any, anti-Semitism that I really, remember. But that's not the same for my kids. They're seeing it around them, and it's really hard. Many Jewish community members question their safety. Our survivors definitely, feel very sad about the state. And you can hear in their testimony their pride of being Canadian and coming here after the war and being welcomed and becoming, really active citizens. And they have been questioning, the future of Canada for their families.
It's heartbreaking and incredibly unfortunate. And what we're finding out in Canada is about 1/3 of young people polled in North America, actually, in the last couple of years, wonder if the Holocaust has been exaggerated or if it even occurred. Also, 40% of young people polled are getting their information on the Holocaust and World War II from social media. What is your call to action to parents today, educators, as we face this very scary reality?
Yeah, this is really frightening because as much as we can do in the museum, we know that so many young people are spending an incredible amount of time online, and that's where they're getting misinformation, Holocaust denial, Holocaust inversion, and we know that we have to meet people beyond the doors of the museum. So for January 27th, International Holocaust Remembrance Day, we're actually launching a campaign it's called It's Critical to Think Critically. And in this campaign, which will be primarily online, we'll be presenting some of the data from a recent survey that shows how much information people get online, and that the majority of those people don't verify their facts, right? They just sort of take what they see as reality. And that's a real problem for young people who are beginning to shape who they are and shape their beliefs. So we have created a really powerful educational resource that is very simple. It encourages people to slow down, think about what they're seeing online, and try to understand if it is real or not. And we are giving people tools to do that, to look at images carefully, to think about sources, what are credible sources, and how to verify what you're seeing online. And this is really directed at that age group.
And Dara, coming up is the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. What does that mean to so many of the family members who have family who experienced Auschwitz or other concentration camps?
Yeah, I think that the further we get away from the Holocaust, the harder it is to protect its memory and legacy, and that's where you see all this Holocaust denial. And for us at the Holocaust Museum, we're really struck by how few survivors we have left. If you look, I just recently looked at the 70th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, and there was so many survivors still able to come. And this year, there's very few who are able to travel to go there. So we need to make sure that we're keeping their memories alive through this important work.
And you are keeping their memories alive here at the Toronto Holocaust Museum. Dara, thank you for all you are doing to help us become more aware of the history, as well as to secure a future that is free of prejudice and hate.
Thank you so much.